Let me tell you something very real. Success is not about luck, not about talent alone, and definitely not about waiting for the perfect time. Success belongs to those who force themselves to be consistent, even when they don't feel like it. Discipline is stronger than motivation, because motivation is fleeting, fragile, and unreliable, whereas discipline is constant, dependable, and transformative. Motivation comes in waves. It visits when the stars align, when we feel inspired by a speech, a book, or a video, but it rarely stays. You wake up one day full of energy, determination, and the belief that today is the day you will change everything. But the next day, the energy is gone, your excitement has faded, and the tasks that once seemed thrilling now feel heavy. This is the nature of motivation. It is not a foundation, it is a spark. Discipline, on the other hand, is the bridge between who you are and who you want to become. It does not wait for the perfect day, the perfect mood, or the perfect conditions. It does not care if you feel like it, or if you are tired, stressed, or uncertain. Discipline shows up regardless, and it is in that consistency, in that stubborn refusal to quit, that transformation begins. Think about the times in your life when you have truly achieved something meaningful. The journey was never smooth, and it was never easy. There were moments when you didn't feel motivated, moments when every part of you wanted to quit or take a shortcut. And yet, you continued. Not because you were inspired, but because you forced yourself to act, to keep going even when it was uncomfortable, even when your mind screamed for rest or your body begged for pause. That is the essence of discipline. It is the inner force that carries you when motivation is absent. Discipline is the muscle that grows stronger the more you exercise it, and just like a muscle, it becomes capable of carrying heavier loads over time. Motivation might lift a feather once, but discipline lifts the weight of your dreams every single day. Discipline is not about punishment, it is about commitment, about showing respect for your own potential. Every time you push yourself to complete a task, to follow through on a promise to yourself, you are telling your mind and your body that you are capable of more than you once believed. You are creating a system that does not depend on feelings, because feelings are unreliable. Some days, you will wake up feeling unstoppable, ready to conquer everything in your path. And on those days, motivation and discipline will work together beautifully. But it is on the days when your energy is low, when your emotions are heavy, and when the world seems to conspire against you, that discipline reveals its true power. Those days are the ones that define you, because it is only through action in spite of difficulty that you grow, that you move closer to your goals, that you prove to yourself that your dreams are not dependent on luck or circumstance, but on your persistence. Every success story you admire, every person you look up to, did not achieve greatness by waiting for motivation to strike. They achieved it by embracing discipline, by forcing themselves to show up day after day, task after task, challenge after challenge. They understood that motivation is a visitor, but discipline is a constant companion. It is discipline that builds routines, habits, and systems that carry you forward even when the initial excitement fades. Discipline is what allows you to transform knowledge into skill, dreams into reality, and intention into achievement. When you cultivate discipline, you no longer rely on fleeting bursts of inspiration. Instead, you create a steady, unstoppable momentum that carries you toward your goals, one deliberate, persistent action at a time. Discipline is the difference between someone who tries and someone who succeeds, between someone who dreams and someone who achieves. Motivation may light the fire, but discipline keeps it burning through storms, through doubt, through fatigue. Discipline is the quiet, relentless force that does not seek recognition or applause. It simply works every day until results appear. And the truth is, you do not need to feel ready, you do not need to feel inspired, and you do not need perfect conditions. You need only the courage to act consistently, to honor your commitments to yourself, and to embrace discipline as your most loyal ally in the journey of life. Success is not born from a single moment of brilliance or a sudden leap of inspiration. It is born from small actions done consistently every day. We often look at great achievements and imagine that they come from extraordinary efforts or miraculous opportunities, but the truth is far simpler and far more accessible. Every significant transformation in life, whether in health, wealth, relationships, or personal growth, begins with seemingly insignificant, ordinary actions performed consistently over time. It is not the dramatic gestures, the grand speeches, or the one-time sacrifices that build lasting change. It is the repetition, the dedication to the daily routine, and the unwavering commitment to taking small steps that gradually shape the trajectory of our lives. These small actions are the seeds of transformation. When nurtured with patience and persistence, they grow into something far greater than we ever imagined. Consider the way a river carves its path through stone. The water is gentle, almost imperceptible in its movement, yet over days, months, and years, it creates canyons and valleys that defy imagination. This is the power of incremental effort. Just as water reshapes the hardest rock through persistence, so too can your small daily actions reshape your life. Writing one paragraph a day may not feel like much, but over time it becomes a book. Exercising for 30 minutes daily may not seem transformative in the moment, but over months it changes your body, your energy, and your confidence. Learning a single new word or concept each day may feel trivial, but over years it builds knowledge, wisdom, and mastery that opens doors you never thought possible. Many people fail to understand this principle because they are seduced by instant results, by the illusion of overnight success. They compare their journey to the final product of others, not realizing that behind every achievement lies a long chain of small, persistent actions. The truth is, no one becomes great all at once. Every inventor, entrepreneur, athlete, or artist started with small, deliberate steps. They showed up consistently, not because it was glamorous, but because they understood that transformation is a process, not an event. Every push-up, every early morning, every disciplined choice to act, every moment of resisting distraction is a brick laid in the foundation of success. Without those small bricks, the structure of achievement would crumble. Small actions also create momentum, which is a powerful force in life. When you take consistent steps, even tiny ones, you generate a sense of progress that fuels further action. Action breeds action. One small accomplishment encourages another, and another, until you find yourself moving forward with a speed and power that seemed impossible at the beginning. Momentum turns the ordinary into extraordinary because it compounds. What seems insignificant today accumulates into remarkable results tomorrow. It is the principle of accumulation, the law of compounding applied to effort. The difference between those who succeed and those who remain stagnant is often not talent, luck, or intelligence. It is the decision to act consistently, to honor the small, daily commitments that lead to transformation over time. Furthermore, small actions help you overcome fear, doubt, and procrastination. When the task seems massive or the goal distant, it is easy to feel overwhelmed. But when you break it down into manageable daily steps, you reduce resistance, and action becomes attainable. Each small victory reinforces your belief in your own abilities. You begin to see that progress is not about giant leaps, but about continuous forward motion. You learn to trust yourself, to trust the process, and to embrace the idea that every effort, no matter how small, moves you closer to your goals. The power of small actions lies not only in the results they produce, but also in the person they create along the way. By acting consistently, you become disciplined, resilient, patient, and confident. You build a character that is capable of handling greater challenges, because transformation is not just about external achievements. It is about becoming someone who is worthy of the life you envision. Small actions may feel insignificant today, but they are quietly, steadily reshaping your destiny. Consistency builds trust in yourself because every time you follow through on a commitment, no matter how small, you prove to yourself that you are capable of reliability, integrity, and discipline. Trust is often thought of as something earned from others, but the most critical trust is the trust you have in yourself. When you wake up each day and act in alignment with your goals, your values, and your promises, you are demonstrating to yourself that you can be depended upon. This self-trust is the foundation of confidence, courage, and resilience. Without it, you may set ambitious goals, dream grand dreams, and plan extraordinary journeys. But when obstacles appear or motivation fades, you will falter, hesitate, and question your own abilities. Trust in yourself is what allows you to push through fear, doubt, and uncertainty, because deep down, you know that you are capable of following through, even when the journey is difficult. Think about the moments in life when you have succeeded against the odds. Often, the defining factor was not luck, opportunity, or natural talent. It was the quiet, steady consistency that allowed you to build confidence in your own abilities. Each day that you act intentionally, each time you honor a promise to yourself, You reinforce the belief that you are trustworthy, competent, and committed. This belief becomes a powerful internal compass, guiding you through challenges and decisions. Without it, even small setbacks can feel catastrophic because you question whether you can handle difficulty. With it, even the largest obstacles become manageable because you have proven time and again that you can rise to the occasion, that you can show up, and that you can persevere. Consistency also cultivates resilience. Life will inevitably test your resolve. There will be days when circumstances are harsh, when people doubt you, and when your own mind tempts you with excuses. During these moments, self-trust acts as an anchor. When you have consistently shown up in the past, you know that you can do it again. You carry the evidence of your own reliability, and that evidence fuels courage. It tells you that you do not need external validation to succeed because you have already earned the most important validation, the knowledge you are capable, disciplined, and unwavering. Moreover, building trust in yourself through consistency shapes the way others perceive you. But more importantly, it shapes the way you perceive yourself. When you see yourself acting with integrity, following through on commitments, and maintaining discipline despite challenges, you develop a sense of pride and ownership over your actions. That pride is not arrogance, it is quiet confidence rooted in reality. It reminds you that you are not defined by fleeting emotions, circumstances, or failures, but by your ability to persist, to show up, and to honor your word to yourself. People who lack self-consistency struggle to trust themselves, and without self-trust, they hesitate, procrastinate, and allow fear to dominate their decisions. Consistency breaks that cycle because it proves to you repeatedly that you are dependable, capable, and resilient. Self-trust is cumulative, and it compounds over time. Each day you act consistently is another brick in the foundation of your confidence and inner strength. The cumulative effect is profound. You begin to approach challenges with certainty instead of doubt, with courage instead of fear, and with determination instead of hesitation. You no longer wait for perfect conditions, external approval, or sudden bursts of motivation, because you've built an unshakable belief in your own ability to deliver. That belief becomes the engine that drives action, and action is the catalyst for transformation. Consistency teaches you that success is not about perfection, immediate results, or effortless victories. It is about showing up day after day, even when you are unsure, tired, or afraid. It is about proving to yourself that you are worthy of your own trust, capable of achieving your goals, and strong enough to handle whatever life places in your path. With each deliberate, repeated action, you reinforce the most powerful asset you can ever possess, the unwavering belief that you can rely on yourself no matter what. The world rewards those who show up because action is the currency of achievement, and dreams without effort are invisible to the forces that shape success. Many people spend their lives crafting visions in their minds, imagining a future filled with triumph, abundance, and recognition. Yet they never step forward to make those visions real. They rehearse speeches in empty rooms, design businesses in notebooks, and plan lives in their heads. But the world does not reward imagination alone. It rewards action, commitment, and the relentless willingness to appear, to participate, and to endure. You can dream as much as you want, but unless you act consistently, unless you show up every day, those dreams remain shadows. Beautiful, inspiring, but ultimately powerless. The path from dreaming to achieving is bridged entirely by presence and effort, and it is those who choose to take the difficult step of showing up, regardless of circumstances, who find themselves receiving the rewards others only fantasize about. Showing up requires courage, because it demands that you place yourself in situations where failure, judgment, and disappointment are real possibilities. It is easy to stay in the comfort of imagination, to allow yourself to be seduced by the perfect plan or the ideal moment that may never arrive. But the moment you commit to showing up, the game changes. You enter a space where learning is possible, where experience teaches lessons that no amount of reading or wishing ever could. Every time you show up, whether to work, to a relationship, to your goals, or even to the smallest task that contributes to your growth, you are signaling to the universe, and more importantly to yourself, that your dreams are worthy of action, that you are worthy of success, and that you are willing to endure discomfort in pursuit of something greater. Consider the countless examples in life and history. Those who change the world rarely start with perfect resources, ideal timing, or absolute certainty. They start by showing up, by acting while others hesitate, by persevering while others procrastinate. They fail often, make mistakes, and encounter resistance, yet every time they return to the task, they build credibility with themselves and with the world. Showing up becomes a habit, and that habit compounds into results that are undeniable. Those who only dream wait for recognition that never comes. Those who act create recognition, because they participate in reality rather than hiding behind imagination. Showing up also means embracing imperfection. You do not need to have everything figured out before you begin, because action itself is the teacher. Every step forward reveals what works, what does not, and what must change. By showing up, you are constantly learning, adjusting, and improving. You are positioning yourself to seize opportunities, because opportunity does not wait for preparation. It rewards those who are present, aware, and active. Every missed day, every moment you delay, is a chance lost because the world is moving forward with or without your participation. Those who show up create momentum, gain visibility, and accumulate experience that cannot be taught in books, courses, or seminars. The truth is, dreams without action create frustration, regret, and longing. They fill the mind with images of what could have been, but provide nothing tangible to build upon. Action transforms dreams into reality because it creates a track record of effort, a foundation of reliability, and a momentum that moves you closer to your goals every day. Showing up may feel ordinary, even repetitive, but the ordinary is where extraordinary results are born. It is in the repetition, the persistence, and the presence that the world begins to notice, to respond, and ultimately to reward those who refuse to remain invisible. When you commit to showing up, you send a powerful message to yourself and to the world that you are not content to dream in silence, that you are willing to step into discomfort, and that you understand the value of participation. Every time you take action, no matter how small or imperfect, you are moving toward recognition, achievement, and the realization of your dreams. The world does not give prizes for wishful thinking. It gives opportunities, rewards, and success to those who are brave enough to show up over and over again until they cannot be ignored. Excuses destroy progress because they act as invisible chains, holding you in place while the world moves forward. Every time you tell yourself, "I will start tomorrow," "I'm too tired," "I don't have the right resources," or "I'm not ready yet," you are surrendering your power to circumstances that exist only in your mind. Excuses are seductive because they feel justified. They allow you to avoid discomfort, to postpone action, and to escape responsibility. Yet every excuse is a thief, stealing days, weeks, and years from the life you could be building. The longer you indulge them, the heavier the burden becomes. Each excuse creates a pattern of delay and avoidance that grows stronger over time, making the act of starting or persisting more difficult with every passing day. In the same way that small drops of water eventually erode stone, excuses gradually erode your confidence, your ambition, and your ability to believe in your own potential. Discipline, in contrast, is the key that frees you from this cycle of self-imposed limitation. Discipline does not depend on mood comfort or the right moment. It depends on choice and action. It is the deliberate decision to show up, to act, and to push forward even when circumstances are unfavorable or motivation is absent. Discipline is not a punishment, it is a commitment to yourself and to the life you want to create. Every act of discipline is a declaration that you are willing to endure temporary discomfort for the sake of long-term growth and achievement. The more consistently you choose discipline over excuses, the more capable, confident, and free you become, because you are no longer a slave to fleeting emotions or external conditions. Think about the people you admire, successful entrepreneurs, athletes, artists, leaders. The common thread is not that they had perfect lives or unlimited advantages, but that they refused to let excuses dictate their actions. They faced rejection, failure, fatigue, and doubt, yet they showed up consistently, pushed through discomfort, and stayed committed to their vision. Discipline allowed them to move forward when excuses tempted them to stop. Each moment of choice, each decision to act rather than avoid, compounded over time, creating a momentum that became unstoppable. In this way, discipline is a form of freedom. It liberates you from the constraints of fear, hesitation, and indecision, giving you the power to shape your destiny. Excuses are comforting because they mask fear and uncertainty, but they do not protect you, they limit you. Every excuse you make creates a habit of avoidance, a pattern that convinces your mind that you are incapable of more than you currently achieve. But when you replace excuses with discipline, you cultivate a new habit, one of action, persistence, and resilience. This habit gradually rewires your mindset, teaching you that challenges are not barriers but opportunities. That discomfort is not a warning to retreat but a signal to grow. And that effort is the pathway to freedom, not a punishment to endure. Discipline also fosters self-respect and confidence. Each time you resist the urge to give in to excuses, you are proving to yourself that you are capable of control, responsibility, and perseverance. You are building an internal authority that no external circumstance can shake, a sense of self-reliance that becomes a foundation for every achievement. The more disciplined you become, the less power excuses hold over you, and the more you realize that freedom is not the absence of challenges, but the ability to act despite them. When you embrace discipline, you begin to experience life differently. You no longer wait for perfect conditions or ideal motivation. You take control of your actions and your outcomes. You recognize that every choice matters, that every act of persistence compounds, and that the power to transform your life lies not in wishing or planning, but in consistent, disciplined execution. Excuses no longer have a place because they cannot survive against the steady force of commitment and intentional effort. Discipline becomes the engine of progress, the framework for achievement, and the path to a life where your potential is not limited by hesitation, but defined by action, resilience, and unwavering focus. Consistency turns weakness into strength because it transforms the ordinary and imperfect efforts we make today into extraordinary capabilities tomorrow. Every human being begins life with limitations, gaps in skill, or areas where confidence is low. Yet it is not the presence of weakness that defines us. It is how we respond to it. Weakness is not permanent. It is a starting point, a signal that growth is needed. And the tool that converts weakness into strength is consistency, the unwavering commitment to act repeatedly, even when the results are not immediately visible. When we persist in the face of struggle, continue to practice even when our progress feels slow, and refuse to abandon the task before mastery is achieved, we build muscles of resilience, skill, and character that gradually transform the very areas where we were once deficient. Consider the process of learning any new skill. At first, we stumble, make mistakes, and feel incapable. Our weaknesses are glaring, and the gap between where we are and where we want to be feels insurmountable. Many people give up at this stage, discouraged by the slow pace of progress or the discomfort of repeated failure. Yet those who persist, those who practice consistently, discover that the human mind and body are adaptable in ways that seem almost miraculous. With every attempt, no matter how small, weakness is chipped away. Repetition strengthens neural pathways, refines technique, and builds confidence until what once seemed impossible becomes natural. This transformation is not sudden, it is gradual, invisible to the untrained eye, but unstoppable when fueled by consistency. Consistency also teaches patience, endurance, and the value of incremental progress. Weakness often produces frustration because the results effort are delayed. We want immediate proof that our hard work is paying off. But life rarely works in sudden bursts. Growth is rarely instantaneous. It is the daily, repeated actions, the steady accumulation of effort that produce lasting change. Every day that you push yourself, every day that you commit to doing the work, you are strengthening your mind, your body, and your character. You are learning the discipline to persist when others quit, the courage to confront challenges, and the humility to accept that mastery is a process, not a gift. Moreover, consistency in action builds confidence, which itself becomes a form of strength. When you repeatedly face your weaknesses rather than avoiding them, you begin to trust your own abilities. You see that effort leads to improvement, that failure is a teacher rather than a sentence, and that your capacity for growth is far greater than you imagined. This self-trust is not abstract. It manifests as courage to take on greater challenges, to push boundaries, and to step into situations that once intimidated you. Weakness, once a source of fear and hesitation, becomes the very foundation for the development of resilience and capability. Consistency also transforms perspective. As you show up day after day, confronting the areas where you are weakest, you start to see challenges not as threats, but as opportunities for growth. The very things that once defined your limitations now define your progress. You realize that every failure, every struggle, and every moment of discomfort is part of a deliberate process, that is reshaping you from the inside out. Weakness becomes a benchmark, a measure of where you started and a reflection of the distance you have traveled through persistent effort. Finally, the power of consistency lies in its compounding effect. Small actions repeated over time magnify into significant results. The habits you build, the skills you develop, and the resilience you cultivate accumulate, gradually transforming weakness into strength. You no longer see yourself as someone limited by flaws or deficiencies, but as someone capable, disciplined, and prepared to face whatever challenges life presents. Consistency is the force that bridges the gap between potential and achievement, turning vulnerability into capability, doubt into confidence, and weakness into a source of enduring strength. Your future self depends on what you do daily because the choices, actions, and habits you cultivate today are the building blocks of the life you will live tomorrow. It is easy to think of success, growth, and achievement as distant, abstract goals, as if they are determined by luck, talent, or some miraculous opportunity that may or may not appear. But the reality is far more tangible and within your control. Every day is a seed, and the actions you take or fail to take determine the garden you will harvest in the future. Every moment spent procrastinating, hesitating, or avoiding responsibility is a moment where your potential is slipping away. Conversely, every small, consistent, deliberate action is a deposit in the bank of your future self, an investment that compounds over time to create results that can be extraordinary and life-changing. It is in the mundane, daily routines that our future is shaped. The choices you make when no one is watching, the extra effort, the consistent practice, the disciplined commitment are far more influential than grand gestures or one-time achievements. You may not feel the impact of these decisions immediately. You may question whether the work is worth it, whether the effort will ever pay off. Yet, just as a stone dropped into a river creates ripples that spread outward far beyond the point of impact, each disciplined action generates effects that accumulate, multiply, and ultimately define the trajectory of your life. Every day you invest in learning, health, skill development, or relationships is a day your future self thanks you for, even if today it feels insignificant or tedious. The reality is that the future is not a random destination. It is the sum total of what you do today, tomorrow, and the day after. Your habits, routines, and choices compound into patterns, and patterns shape character. Character shapes decisions, and decisions shape destiny. If you neglect your daily responsibilities into distractions or rely on fleeting bursts of motivation, your future self inherits the consequences. If you commit to growth, to discipline, and to purposeful action each day, your future self reaps the rewards. It is both simple and profound. Greatness is not achieved in moments. It is created one deliberate action at a time, consistently, persistently, and intentionally. Imagine the person you want to become, a version of yourself who is confident, skilled, healthy, resilient, and successful. That version of you exists only as a result of the efforts you make today. If you avoid the work, the sacrifices, and the disciplined routines required, that future self will remain a dream, a vision without substance. If you act even imperfectly, even when it is uncomfortable or inconvenient, you are laying the foundation for that reality. Your future self is not a product of chance. It is a product of the daily choices you make, the moments you show up, and the persistence you exercise in the face of fatigue, doubt, and resistance. Daily action also builds self-respect, confidence, and momentum. Each time you honor your commitments, no matter how small, you strengthen the belief that you are capable, reliable, and deserving of success. This internal reinforcement creates a cycle of growth. Consistent action builds results, results build confidence, and confidence fuels further action. Conversely, neglecting daily effort erodes self-belief and leaves your potential unrealized. The life you dream of is waiting, but it can only be claimed by the person you are becoming every single day. Ultimately, the choices you make daily are more powerful than any external circumstance. Talent, luck, opportunity, and timing play roles in life, but without consistent action, none of these factors will manifest in a meaningful way. Your future self does not emerge from wishful thinking, hope, or fleeting inspiration. It emerges from what you commit to doing today, tomorrow, and the day after. Every moment matters, every decision matters, and every action contributes to the person you will become. The accumulation of these choices will determine whether your future is defined by potential unfulfilled or by achievements realized through unwavering daily effort. In the end, The life you dream of is not determined by talent, luck, or fleeting motivation. It is determined by the choices you make, the actions you take, and the discipline you cultivate each and every day. Discipline is stronger than motivation. Small actions repeated daily create transformation. Consistency builds trust in yourself. Showing up earns rewards that dreaming alone cannot. Refusing excuses opens the door to freedom. Persistent effort turns weakness into strength. And every deliberate choice you make today shapes the person you will become tomorrow. Your future self is watching you right now, waiting for you to show up, to commit, and to act with courage and determination. Every step you take, no matter how small, is an investment in the life you deserve. The challenges you face, the discomfort you feel, and the moments when you want to quit are all part of the process. They are proof that you are moving forward, that you are building strength, and that you are forging a character capable of achieving greatness. So I challenge you, do not wait for the perfect moment. Do not wait for motivation to strike, and do not wait for conditions to be ideal. Start today, start now, and start consistently. Force yourself to act, force yourself to persist, and force yourself to honor your commitments to yourself. Your future self depends on it. The world will not reward hesitation or dreams without action. It rewards those who show up, endure, and refuse to quit. Remember, success is not a single event. It is the accumulation of small, disciplined actions repeated over time. It is the product of consistency, resilience, and unwavering self-belief. Embrace the power of showing up, trust in your own ability to follow through, and commit to the daily actions that will shape your destiny. The life you desire is within your reach, but it will only be claimed by the person who refuses to settle for excuses, embraces discipline, and understands that the choices made today are the foundation for tomorrow's greatness. Take control, act relentlessly, and watch as your efforts compound into a reality far greater than you ever imagined. Your future starts now, and it is waiting for the consistency, courage, and commitment that only you can provide.